I'm Alex Jong, and I'm a sister in Alpha Kappa Delta Phi, and I'm from Omicron chapter. So some of the sisters and I have gotten together to create a video about some general interview tips. And basically these tips are going to help you have a very successful first interview. So we hope you enjoy.
The first tip I have for dressing for an interview is definitely to wear comfortable clothes. You want to make sure that the person interviewing you can tell that you're comfortable in the situation, because if you're wearing something uncomfortable, they're definitely going to be able to notice that. Additionally, I would like to add to not wear bright colors, just because that might make you stand out a little bit too much from the crowd. Make sure to keep it neutral and professional.
If you would like to learn more about dressing business professional, go ahead and click below, and we'll have more information about that for you.
Yes, you should definitely research the company beforehand. I highly recommend researching at least 2 to 3 weeks before your interview, if not while you're submitting the initial application. In terms of what you need to know about the company, there are 3 key areas that I highly recommend you do your research on. The first area is knowing a little bit about the company's history and what they do. To appear knowledgeable during the interview. Second, I recommend researching their core values. A lot of times companies, when they're interviewing candidates for positions, not only are they looking for a very capable person, but they're also looking for a person that aligns with their values. The fact that they're giving you an interview already shows that they have confidence in your abilities and they're looking for someone that matches with their company. And third and last, I highly recommend looking up news articles about the company. It's a great way to stay current and know what's going on at the time.
So an elevator pitch is basically a brief overview of who you are and the strengths that you could bring to the company that you're applying to. My elevator pitch would sound something like, hello, my name is Kristen Ramillano. I'm a Communication and Media Studies major at Cal State San Marcos set to graduate in the spring of 2020. I currently work for a veteran nonprofit called Veterans Energy Careers, where I help recruit and market to partners and other veterans that are majoring in STEM that would like to work in clean energy jobs. I would like to work for your company because I like what you stand for and the values that you have, as well as I'd like to serve the community that you work for.
If you would like more information about the elevator pitch, go ahead and look at our helpful pamphlet that will be below.
Most likely your first interview will be with a screener or the recruiter on the actual role itself. So definitely make sure that you're prepared, but also make sure that you write a thank you email. Oftentimes people forget that the recruiters are a crucial part of the interview process, and they're kind of the gatekeepers. So they'll actually be able to keep you from going to the next round. So make sure you're well researched, that you have good questions, but also that you're genuine, authentic, try to connect with them, and don't just see them as a formality that you have to go through.
I think the biggest tip would be to show your personality. Like, yes, this is business and you are in an interview, but you definitely want the company or organization that you're applying for to know who you are and like what you're going to be like in their work environment.
So one of the most important things I learned in college was stop, think, speak. Basically what this means is stop for a second to collect your thoughts, think about what you want to say, and then speak articulately about what you want to say. This is perfect not only for phone interviews, but just regular interviews as well, because it gives you a chance to make yourself look presentable and also allows you to sound confident when you're talking to the interviewer. This is also an excellent time where you can reflect on some of the notes that you may have taken in preparation for the phone interview, and just overall makes you sound like a very confident person.
So I think it really depends on who's talking to you at that point in time. So if you're talking to the recruiter, definitely focus your questions in on more general questions about the company, about like HR, benefits, etc., because they'll be the experts there. And if you're talking to your hiring manager, definitely ask questions about the team, try to gauge the dynamic, and understand like what exact work or projects would you be on as a member of that team. And if talking to somebody who's within the area that you're going into, but not the hiring manager. Definitely try to keep it less team-specific focused and maybe more company culture, broader team focused, and make sure that you're thinking through the different questions and not asking everyone the same questions because they definitely talk to each other and will know if you just recycled them.
I think it depends. What's most important is that you're able to showcase all of your skills through the examples that you're providing in the interview. It can be all through KD-Phi as long as you show that you are doing different things and are able to do those things, or it can be through being a participant in multiple organizations.
I think like one of the biggest mistakes I've seen is when people answer questions and don't really get to the point. So for example, in your elevator pitch, when asked like, tell me about yourself, you should like keep it to no longer than a minute and only focus on the core details that really pertain to the job. I've had someone tell me that they went to UCLA because they really like the palm trees and sun and told me a lot about the beaches there, which I really did not care to know about. I'm sure it's all real, but you know. And that's true for like answering interview questions as well. Answering with the STAR method really helps keep your answers on track to the point and helps your interviewer stop losing attention.
Something that I've seen when I've interviewed candidates for different roles is that sometimes people tend to answer the question that they think the person is asking versus actually listening and answering the question that the interviewer is asking. So I would definitely recommend that you stay sharp, make sure you're listening, and really directly answering what they're asking you.
I think the first mistake that I personally have seen a lot is the lack of questions. I would say whenever you go into an interview, always go prepared with two to three questions. Make sure you look up the organization, see what their background is, what they're about, so you can actually prepare questions that can relate to that. Additionally, I would say make sure you have a firm handshake. I personally have done several mock interviews, and something that was noted upon me was that my handshake was not as firm as they wanted it to be, even though I thought it was. So just make sure that your handshake is actually consistent and it lasts at least 3 seconds rather than just 1 second.
Practice makes perfect. I don't think anyone is ever comfortable going into their interview without practice. I always recommend to my sisters or to my friends to always practice at least a week beforehand. Just run through the interview questions that you could possibly get, do them in the shower while you're driving, in between classes. It really helps being able to kind of internalize and know automatically how you respond to questions. Another piece of advice that I have is that when you're talking to the interviewer, they don't necessarily know what you know. So when explaining certain scenarios or answering certain questions, make sure that you're communicating in a way that they understand. Rather than using the word actives, maybe use members. Maybe instead of saying the whole sorority name, it could be good just to say sorority to keep your answer short and sweet.
So the advice I would have, especially for people who are going through job interviews, is to know your resume. You should be able to speak to every single thing that you put on your resume in the event that your interviewer asks about it. So even if it's just something as small as an award that you may have received during your undergraduate career, you never know if someone is going to ask for more details just because they might be interested, or it might be something that is important for the job that you're interviewing for. And it also ensures that, and lets the interviewer know that what you are putting on your resume is genuine and you have taken pride in that specific thing to be able to put on your resume.
I think one of the most valuable things you can do as a job seeker is to go out there and do informational interviews. So basically you reach out to people who are in your field, who have like some years of experience, and ask them about their job and how they broke in. People are always like really willing to talk about themselves and offer advice. And not only does it teach you more about your potential job, as well as whether you like this as a career, but it also helps you build connections and networks that will help advocate for you if and when you do apply for that job.
Well, number one is prepare. Like, people will know if you didn't read up on the company, if you didn't practice. Know the interview style and type. Not all interviews are the same. Some are extremely technical and specific to the role, what you'll be doing, etc. Some are extremely general and just behavioral, so know exactly what you're going into, and it's totally fair to ask the recruiter in advance what the interview style is like. Also make sure that you do research on who will be interviewing you. Oftentimes the recruiter will give you names, their positions, etc. So know who they are, try to connect with them on a personal level, and be authentic.